Hello, everybody. It is the American Doofus Show. I'm your host, Barry Welsh. Don't be a doofus. It is Sunday. It is the weekly wrap. It's where we go back and look at what we've talked about the past week, and we look at what's coming in the week ahead. I want to start out. I want to start out with an email. Try to get an email in on every weekly wrap. And this is from James, and James said, "Hi, have you thought about the fact that the Latinos might be with the black people in the fight against the white supremacists? That can change the game. They can outnumber the supremacists." By the way, I like your channel. Thank you, James. I'm glad you like the channel. Hello, what's up, Hoosier? Yeah, from Indiana, a Hoosier. One of the so disputed how that nickname came into existence. Some say it was because a lot of French had inhabited Indiana initially, and it came from "who's there," asking who's there, and it became "who's here." I don't know. Anyway, um, James, that email. I I would like to talk to some people from the Latino community. I'd like to get because um, I can't guess what would happen. I can guess. My guess would be that there would be some Latinos fighting on one side, possibly some in the middle, and some maybe even fighting on the other side. I don't know. I think it's going to be that way if it ever happens. I think it's going to be that way with all cultures. There are going to be some on one side, some on the other side, and some in the middle, and that's why it's so asinine that we are this close to going to war with ourselves. And I wasn't anticipating doing an episode before this, but I put one up on what happened in Louisville yesterday during a peaceful march, and I'm going to talk about that coming up. Um, Looking ahead first as to what's coming, we know that we have a pretty good idea that the Breonna Taylor case, that the grand jury will render their verdict sometime in this coming week. We know that because there are federal guards at all four federal buildings in downtown Louisville. And some would say that's an indication that the verdict is going to be that no charges will be filed. Um, Again, what happens in Louisville when and if that is the case, only time will tell, but we're going to definitely be keeping an eye on that. Also coming in the week ahead, General Delta Django from NFAR. We haven't got a time scheduled yet. That's still in the works, but we're looking forward. He doesn't give many interviews. He doesn't. You don't see him as much as you see some people, and I'm grateful that he's going to come on the show and talk, and I look forward to hearing what he has to say. Um, and of course, also this coming week, we're going to be doing the who, what, when, where, why, and how of hate, and kind of takes us into the episode before this one, which was a picture of hate. And the episode started out with a white man that had a gun pointed sideways out a closed window with his finger on the trigger. And I hope that is an outlier, and I hope it's not an indication of things to come. Go check that episode. Also, thanks to Riot Heart, one of the many 502 live streamers in Louisville, for everything he does. And We used just a tiny clip of his footage to educate, and always refer back. I always refer everyone back to the source, because these people out there are doing tremendous work, and all this show tries to do is draw attention to it and highlight the efforts of the live streamers, wherever they may be. But of course, our focus has been on Louisville. So looking back, we started with RAHOWA, Religious Holy War, and the concept of religious holy war, a white supremacist concept that basically states that white people have to annihilate everyone else, and it doesn't fit with the Bible I read and study, but that is the concept, and it is ingrained in some people. Hopefully not enough, but again, only time will tell with that. And Chris talked about that and its foundation, where it came from, and what it's evolved into, as well as talking about militias and security and etc. And go back and check that episode out if you haven't seen it. Of course, Dave Lackford. Anytime Dave Lackford's on, just like with Chris, I learned something. I learned something from all my guests, and anytime Dave's on, I get a little bit more legal knowledge than I had before his appearance, and he kind of laid out why it may come down as there's not going to be any decision. There's not going to be any charges pressed. If that is indeed the case, I would think that they would want to announce it early in the morning, as early as possible on some day on that morning, to allow the frustration, the pressure, the angst, the injustice to start being released, so that you've got daylight hours for it, to, instead of doing it at 5 o'clock at night, 5 o'clock in the evening, when darkness is going to be falling. There's going to be anger if it happens in Louisville, and there's going to be frustration. And the people of Louisville have been unbelievable, honestly, in trying to maintain peace. I've seen times that the police have antagonized them, and I've also seen the police give them water just yesterday, which I think might be, again, softening things up for what might be to come. The police department trying to put a better image out to the public, because what's coming could be troubling, and again, the people of Louisville have been peaceful, and they have said that it's not going to end with a decision on Breonna Taylor. So let's hope, if it comes down wrong, let's hope that things remain peaceful, because we're in a climate where peace is hard to achieve, and the people of Louisville have been awesome in doing that. Also this week, we looked at the video of the guy starting the fire in the community in the state of Washington that somehow exploded into, this is all coming to your community, and kind of broke it all down. And it looks like it was probably it was probably staged. Um, Again, the person doing the filming doesn't try to stop. He actually zooms in and pans and almost like he knows what's coming. And there's volume on that video, and he doesn't call the fire department. He doesn't do anything about it. He doesn't call the police. He just films. So we talked about that earlier in the week. If you haven't seen that episode, go back and check it out. And we also had the Where's the Hate map, and we had that and showing that there are hate groups all across the country. How many exactly, I don't know. But the thing is, far and away, they do not all hate the same thing. The hate groups are not united. Some probably have more in common with others than they ever want to realize. But the hate groups are not all united. So that's kind of a wrap up of what happened last week, and a look ahead again. General Delta Django from the NFAR is scheduled to be on sometime this coming week. And also coming this week sometime is going to be the Breonna Taylor decision. So those will be the two main things that we're aware of. This is 2020, the year 2020. So if something bigger breaks out, I wouldn't be surprised. Again, Ruth Bader Ginsburg passing away. If you're one of our women that watch the program, first of all, thank you. And second of all, if you don't know the impact Ruth Bader Ginsburg had on women's lives, just look for an article. Just take a couple of minutes. It really won't take you long. This woman had a tremendous impact on other women. And personally, I think that rushing to try to replace her is it's a sign of fear. It's a sign that the current administration knows that they're on their way out, and they want to do as much as they can while they can to promote whatever agenda it is that they're trying to promote. Bankrupting the country for the short-term interests of corporations. Yeah, seems like that could be a possibility. I'm going to take a couple of questions, and I'm going to tell you that memberships are available. I don't know if there should be a join button. There are 3 levels. It's not mandatory. I'm just going to give you some behind the scenes information. Anybody got any questions or anything? NFAC going to Louisiana October 3rd. I honestly have not heard that. To be honest with you, I haven't seen anything from Grandmaster Jay this past week. I've been on other things, and I've got a bunch of catching up to do. If they are going to Louisiana October 3rd, that would be a good time because the Angry Viking, Dylan Stevens, is going to be in Kenosha, Wisconsin, at the other end of the country. So at least those two groups won't be in conjunction with each other at the same place at the same time. But I don't know that. I'll see if I can verify that. And if you know it to be true, then okay. What about the Latino community? Do you want to know? I want to know how they view the current situation. does the Latino community feel as if we are as close to war as many of us in the other communities of color and some in the white community? A lot of us feel like we're really, really close to chaos, and a lot of us don't want it. So I'd like to know, does the Latino community or members of the Latino community, first of all, do they feel the same way? So that's one of the main things I want to know. Latinos showed structure in Indianapolis all weekend. Can you give me a little more information on that? As far as, I'm not sure what happened in Indy this weekend. Other than I do know from watching Real Indy News, I know that there was some shootings in Indy this weekend, and one on the east side this morning. But I'm not sure what happened with the Latino community in Indy this weekend. You know what? Okay. Thank you for answering me. You know what? To be real with you, I believe we are all divided between right, left, and middle. I kind of imagine that's going to be the case with all cultures. Honestly, I think that's going to be the case, and I think the people that really want war don't understand that concept. Not everybody that looks like me thinks like me, and not every monolithic thinking. I talk about it a lot on here, that all Latinos think this way, all white people think this way, all American Indians, Native Americans, no disrespect intended in any way, shape, or form, all think this way. And it's not the case. I think there will be divisions among all cultures, and that just divides us even more. And I think we would have a much better country if we all cared about each other and all worked for each other. I know that's idealistic, but man, it's a good idealism to hold on to, in my opinion. And that's why I do this. It's not police brutality. It's government, state to state, black genocide. History tells us white supremacists tried to destroy us and still are. This genocide is sanctioned. Oh, I wasn't aware of that. The protest for the Mexican woman that got raped and murdered. And yes, I definitely remember the story, and how they couldn't find her for. Yeah. Thank you for being showing structure in your protests. I wasn't aware of it, and if anybody has any footage, please let me know. You can email me at americandoofus@gmail.com, or message me, American Doofus Facebook, and just send the message there. If anybody was live streaming that protest, I will definitely show it. I would definitely show it. Now, getting back to government, state to state, black genocide. History tells us white supremacists tried to destroy us and still are. The genocide is sanctioned. I totally understand how you could feel that way. And there are people Um, Not necessarily any of us, but there are people in this country that will cheer when they hear what I'm about to say. And there are people in this country that'll cringe. But a lot of the things that are going on in this country right now were going on in Germany right before Hitler seized power and it became a fascist state. Um, there are neo-Nazi party members who will cheer that I'm saying that steps are being taken. And I hope there are people that will cringe when they hear, but it's not, I'm not making it up. Study a little bit of the rise and fall of the Third Reich. I did in college. And there are a lot of things happening here in this country. There are possible steps towards fascism, including a president that has already said he's not going to consider any election result valid. Again, another sign of fear, another sign that the Army may have to make a choice. The United States Army, the United States military. Do they side with the commander in chief or with the majority of Americans? And phew, it's scary. It's scary. The FBI came out with a report that said the many police departments have been infiltrated with white supremacists, and Homeland Security came out and said the biggest threat to American security at the moment is white supremacist groups. The Department of Defense, I believe, came out with a report saying that wasn't the case. But it just shows the potential, even if it's not the case. It shows the potential. It shows that maybe, a lot of people have thought, in police departments there are a few bad apples. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe there are only a few good apples in police departments, and maybe those people are retiring before they get knifed in the back by, and I don't mean literally, but get set up. It's 2020, and anything can happen. So much has already happened that is unfathomable, but yet real. You need to barbecue me? I hope not. I really hope not. It's not something that I ever anticipated seeing in the comments. Triple E mosquito virus is a new thing. Yeah, I've heard something about some kind of abnormally large mosquitoes in certain areas of the world. The problem is white people won't condemn white supremacy. Instead, they hide behind Christianity and patriotism, and they don't have to face what blacks face every day. I agree with that. I agree that's a huge part of the problem. Ignorance in the white community, ignorance of what the life is of people in communities of color. Ignorance, absolutely. And they're not going to, they're not going to acknowledge something they don't know. And I'm not making excuses for it, because I'm not making excuses for it at all, because white privilege, white arrogance, white whatever you want to call it, it may end up being, if there is a war, motivation is a huge factor in battle. Motivation. And the people in the communities of color are highly motivated, highly pissed off. That they're starting groups called Not Fucking Around, and I think too many in the white community, with the arrogance, with the supremacy, are thinking, we're going to be, all we got to do is show our guns and everybody's going to run. Well, one thing that video from Louisville showed today in the previous episode is that's not the case. That's not how this is going to go down. And honestly, white people, listen to me for just a second and share this with other white people. This, if it happens, may not end the way you think it's going to happen. And it may last a lot longer than you imagine it's going to happen. And it may impact you and your family and your kids and your grandkids and everything around you in ways that you could never imagine are going to happen. So stop it. Everybody just stand down. Everybody just take a step back. Stop the hate. Question the hate. Why? Why is there hate? Why do you hate somebody? Hate somebody just because they're different from you? Just because they look different? Just because they may think different? They haven't hurt you. Why? Why the hate? We need to all ask ourselves that. There's way too much in the world. I'm going to be talking about it all week. Shout out coming out of Jamaica. Baptiste Brown, thank you. Blessings on you and everyone in Jamaica. Thank you so very much. We are officially international, not just in the United States anymore. And we haven't made it overseas yet, but we will, because racism's over there, and eventually this program will get over there. I love y'all. I will be back. I'm not sure if we're going to be live Tuesday or Wednesday, but we will have one more live or at least one more coming up. Again, it depends on what happens. If something major happens, we'll probably have a live so we can talk about it a little bit. Of course, we're going to be recording. We're going to be recording when we have General Delta on, so no questions can be asked then. But if you're a member, you can ask. You can submit a question, and the winning question is going to get asked. So memberships start at $2.99, and you get members only videos. You get other perks, emojis, things like that. And again, it's not mandatory. It's just a way to support the show. I thank you all for being here. If I didn't get to your question, I'll try to get, there's this thing called Super Chat. And if you make a small donation to the show, your text or question comes up in a big green box and draws my attention to it. And I wasn't intending on doing that tonight, because it's the weekly wrap, just taking questions. So if I didn't get to you, save your question, or you can email me, or you can contact me through Facebook. It's the American Doofus Show. I love you. Thank you all. Thank you all that are watching live, and thank you all that watch at a later time. I get messages, that people binge watch the show, and that's awesome because I try to keep everything tying together, and that's what I'm going to do at the end tonight. I'm going to say, if you haven't registered, please register to vote. The deadline will be coming up, and voting is important. And we're going to have a problem no matter who's elected. Things aren't going to just, if the Democrats win, it's not like everything just automatically goes away. It may de-escalate on the part of the federal government. I anticipate it will be a major de-escalation on the part of the federal government, but the revolution for change, for equality, for freedom, for justice isn't going to end if Democrats happen to take over the presidency, the House, and the Senate. Still going to be fighting to do as far as protesting and shouting for what's right, because it's not just going to be given away. Love you all. A jar, 100 red ants, 100 black ants. Everything's cool until somebody starts shaking the jar. A lot of hands trying to grab that jar and shake it now. Let's keep our common sense about us. Let's try to keep our humanity about us. If you're a praying person, let's keep praying that the cooler heads prevail all the way around. Register to vote. Vote. If you don't know anything about voting, you've never voted before, still register to vote. Go down, and if there's an I by their name, vote them out. Just vote them out. Vote them out. Chances are they've been there too long. I love you all. I seriously do. I thank you all for watching. It's the American Doofus Show. I'm your host, Barry Welsh. Love you. Don't be a doofus.